is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal, and we're here every single Tuesday, the hour before Power. Too sweet to be sour, don't you know? And we're here to talk some wrestling. We're here to talk some NWA, and I'm so glad you guys could be here with me because my battery's about to die. So I was planning things out well ahead of it in advance, but let's see if I can do this real quickly. I guess I'll just wait for the battery to actually die. A big week in the NWA. We got some more match announcements. We've got some more things coming to Power, but more importantly, guys, what we're really seeing is some of the finalized parts of the card for the big pay-per-view Hard Times 3. That'll be in Chamonix, Louisiana, also known as Nolans. I mean, just Nolans adjacent. And your boy J Cal's going to be there. I'm going to be there. If you guys want to come hang out, I'm going to have a few hats to give away. I might even have a few t-shirts to give away. Are you coming? You better say what's up to your boy J Cal. Because, I mean, why not? That's what we do. Hashtag NWA fam. We have some folks. I don't know if you guys know this or not. We're live streaming not only on YouTube, not only on Twitch.tv, but now also on the Tickety Talk. So I'm on TikTok as well. I see Possum Eggs is on there. Possum, what is up, man? Thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. We're also live on YouTube and Twitch.tv at the Alliance blog. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you aren't going to make the trek to Nolans, make sure you sign up for the premium live, the NWA premium streaming service. I know it's $49.99 a year, but you get all the pay-per-views for 365 days. So you want to get on that now as opposed to waiting to the week of, because then they won't let you jump on it. Once the week of, you can only order the pay-per-view. I've been corrected. Mr. James Bell says it's Chalmette. Chalmette? Am I saying that right, James? JB, help me out here. We also got Poyle Del Mar in the chat, and Poyle says, "What's up, you darn dirty no-gooders?" I love it. And Lamb. My buddy Lamb is in the house. If I knew you were going to be here, I would have worn my Lamb Some Guy shirt. Lamb is the best. He is the one that's putting about 99% of the content you see at Alliance-Wrestling.com, which now has a much more Southern California-based content. I'm living here for it. I love it. I'm a SoCal native. Lamb is not, but he loves the SoCal wrestling scene. So make sure you guys are checking that out. And James Bell says, yeah, it's Chalmette. Chalmette. Heebs is in the house. He's tired of the elections. You know what? That's the good thing about not having pay TV. Like, I do all the streaming services, and most of them we don't have commercials on them, so I don't see any election advertisements, which is for the best because, quite honestly, that stuff's for the boys. Speaking of for the birds, man, oof. Heebs, you're right. Oof. That last week's Power was a bit oof. I'm going to go on record here saying this. The Power Search episodes we all know are supposed to be kind of filler episodes, and amazing things can happen. We could see lightning in a bottle, but man, the presentation that we got last week was just oof. Yeah, I don't have anything positive to say about it. If you care, I know JB cares. If you care, I'm drinking that sparkling ice, that cranberry frost. I'm doing a little bit of cranberry frost, and I'm supporting that young wrestler, turn actor, turn entrepreneur, the Zoa Healthy Warrior Energy Drink. If The Rock drinks it, it must be good. And Lamb says, oof, after dark. That's what they should call it, actually. A whole lot of nothing after dark. It was rough. It was a rough watch. I try to come in here with a positive mental attitude, that PMA, because honestly, the world of professional wrestling has enough negativity associated with it. If you're on Twitter, how much longer is Twitter going to be around? If you're on Twitter, it gets very toxic. A lot of negativity when it comes to wrestling, a lot of negativity for everything, really. But excuse me. But I digress. He says USA was solid, but heck, if we are getting 45 minutes USA, then let's cut some from that and eliminate power surges. Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest with this, right? The power surge is supposed to be a half an hour episode. If we've got 45 minutes of good content, let's put that on the premium show, right? I still believe Power is the premium show, although I'm not entirely sure it is, but I still believe it to be. And anywho, it should be if it's not. I'm just waiting for the camera to die. Excuse me. I'm out of breath. That's not good. All right, so one of the cool things is we do know that next week, at the pay-per-view, we will have a new television champion crowned. We know that the time limit draw between AJ Kazana and Jordan Clearwater left a lot of confusion as to what would happen with the television championship. Some were thinking that it would go back to Tyrus. Some were hoping that they would get another rematch on Power or USA, but they've decided it'll be a part of the pre-show on YouTube, and they'll determine that they'll determine the television champion, which is going to be great because now we know it will witness history at the pay-per-view. We will see a new champion crown for sure, no matter what happens. And personally, I'm leaning in that Jordan Clearwater side of it. I've watched his maturation process now for the past 5 years. Championship wrestling from Hollywood went from the blandest of baby faces to one of the most over heels in Hollywood. And honestly, I believe if the NWA were taking notes on the Jordan Clearwater in Hollywood, we would have a guy who's ready to be the next guy for the NWA. And I know that this whoever walks away with the television championship, we know it'll be a test to see what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next for Jordan Clearwater? What's going to happen next for AJ Kazana? What's their career trajectory headed? Now, we know with a guy like Jordan Clearwater, they have put him in a tag team with Marche Rocket, and they've had some limited success. But all of us know that the Country Gentlemen have had a far more success as a tag team as they have as individuals. And I could genuinely see a run with those United States tag team titles for AJ Kazana and Anthony Andrews. I wonder what you guys think about. Let's read some of your comments. He says they showed Camille Max match on Power a few weeks ago. Those things should be saved for Power Surge. I agree. If we're going to have a filler show, at least give us good filler. I agree. Lamb says at least Clearwater will leave an NWA pay-per-view with the title. It's about time. I agree, man. Like, this kid has been sitting in the shadows waiting for Tyrus to take that next step. And now that Tyrus has officially graduated to the World's Heavyweight Championship, not necessarily the champion, but as one of the top challenges for that title, I mean, it finally cleared a path for Jordan Clearwater to have more opportunities. It's hard when your mentor, the guy who's on top of the Idolmania Sports Management, is a former WWE superstar. And let's face it, Tyrus wasn't a big hit in the WWE, but he was over for a little bit, and he did spend some time in Impact. But let's be honest, he's a shell of what he used to be. And although he did have a great performance against Trevor Murdoch at the 74th anniversary show, I think we can't expect that same level of excellence from Tyrus. Now, it'd be great if we did. I kind of hope we do. But it just feels like he's on borrowed time. So now is the time for guys like Jordan Clearwater to step up, be recognized. He is the United Wrestling Network World Champion. It's an open weight title, so I can't say heavyweight, but he's the United Wrestling Network World Champion. And by all rights, he should be the United Wrestling Network Television Champion. I see our pal Rick Del Santo's in the house. One of these days, Rick is going to join us on the Alliance, guys. I don't know when, but soon. Heaves, let's talk about that because that's actually something that's very interesting. So FITE TV, which is the purveyor of the NWA and their pay-per-view system, and in the past has been the purveyor of Impact pay-per-views. They have a working relationship with the New Japan Strong, is where they air their pay-per-views. And they've had some various relationships with the independent promotions throughout the United States. They're starting what they're calling the Prime, the FITE TV Plus, and it's a subscription service to what I believe is going to be multiple independent wrestling promotions. And the first group announced was Black Label Pro Wrestling, which, let's be honest, Black Label Pro is not exactly the cream of the crop. There's a lot of quality talent that's been out of there. I know Zicky Dice spent some time in Black Label Pro, but it's not one of the larger wrestling promotions out there. But that news changed today when Game Changer Wrestling, a lot of people were speculating that they're working with the WWE. Some people think they're working with the AEW. But the bottom line is that joining this FITE Plus program is going to be Game Changer Wrestling. And that, aptly titled Game Changer, it's a game changer for FITE. GCW, who I know has had a lot of their pay-per-views on not pay-per-views, but live events on other streaming services, will now move to FITE. And I think that helps solidify FITE as a purveyor of pro wrestling content. I know MLW has jumped ship to what was it? I believe it's Pro Wrestling, the Pro Wrestling channel. I don't have the details for that. If anyone knows them, feel free to throw it up in the chat. We know that Title Match Network has a relationship with Mission Pro. So there's a lot of services out there that are, nickel and diming us all to death. But I feel like what FITE is doing is gathering some of the bigger companies on the one service. And the benefit of that is the more subscribers they get, the more eyeballs are featured on that content. And I don't know if the NWA is ever going to be a part of that. I know that they offer quarterly pay-per-views. So as it stands, you would imagine probably not. But it might make sense for them to do that. Sure, they take a hit on the revenues that they're making by themselves, but maybe with that larger audience, that GCW audience, that Black Label Pro audience, perhaps maybe more eyeballs on the product would benefit the NWA. Let's see. I want to get to some more of your comments. So yeah, Heaves, I do agree. I think it's a big deal. I think it's a lot bigger deal than I've seen people give the credentials to that, because I think it's gonna mean something pretty significant for independent wrestling. Remember, FITE is backed by Triller, and Triller's the one that produces a lot of the celebrity MMA fights, and Triller has really kind of blown up. They have their own version of TikTok, the Triller app. This is a big deal, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next. James Bell says the new belt unveiling pissed me off. The belt should never be in a comedy bit. Yeah, I don't get that either. I don't get why Jay Bradley wasn't there as well. I don't understand why it was just the one belt. I don't know what Billy... Billy's the one that's booking this, so every time he looks foolish, that's his own booking. So I don't know why he would make himself to look like a fool, but nevertheless, we prevail. Pro Wrestling Zone, our own pal Rick Del Santo says that he's looking forward to it. I think he means coming on to one of the Alliance Guys episodes. I think that'll be a lot of fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. Lamb reminds you that Memphis Wrestling is also on FITE Plus. So hey Lamb, help me out here. Does that mean that Championship Wrestling is also on FITE Plus, or is that something unrelated? Because I thought that they were connected. I thought they were. I thought your deal with FITE, you had some wrestling promotions on there, but not exactly FITE Plus. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I would love to know the difference. And Rick corrects me. Yes, the Pro Wrestling TV. Heeb says the FITE Plus deal, I feel like, will put the pressure on the NWA to do some different business, or give us a real bang for our buck. Yes, and that's the thing. If you're asking casual wrestling fans to spend $4.99 a week or $4.99 a month on the NWA for just their programming, or $4.99 a month for Combat Zone Wrestling and Black Label Pro and perhaps Memphis and whoever else is involved, you can watch Power for free on YouTube. The added benefit to having this FITE membership is watching Power 2 days early, unless you have subscribed to the premium package where you get the pay-per-views every quarter as well. If you're paying for per pay-per-view, if you're paying for each pay-per-view, you're really like overspending. Pro Wrestling Zone says, I thought we were promised more content with the NWA All Access, just the weekly TV and the pay-per-views. Yeah, that was a false bill of sale. Early on, I mean, every time they show that commercial, which is quite frequently, if you watch Power, you hear in Kyle Davis's own words, like an exclusive content that you'll only see on FITE. But as of right now, nothing what they do is exclusive to FITE except for the pay-per-views. And even the pay-per-views, they've been dolling out some of those matches to make them available on YouTube or Power Search, whatever, USA, whatever, and get cycled through on YouTube. So it's not like anything is really exclusive. It's just not released yet. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that's kind of a joke. Every time I hear it, it kind of is like nails on the chalkboard to me, because I'm expecting like maybe more 10 pounds of gold that are exclusive to FITE. But as it is right now, nothing's exclusive to FITE. Heave says, I'll pirate GCW for a match here and there, but $5 just to have it all and much more is a great deal. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, the cost of admission is only $5 a month. Man, I spend more on that in bubblegum. You know, like that's not $5 is not difficult to come up with. Now I know for some people it is, and I don't mean to sound like rude or anything, because there are people out there who are struggling, especially in this economy and the way that the post-pandemic world. It's hard. It's not easy out there. So I get it if there's some of you out there who don't have $5 a month to watch wrestling. And again, like there's so many other free alternatives. I don't blame you. But if you're really into Game Changer Wrestling, $5 a month is a pretty good deal. Plus everything else on top of it that will come with it, like Black Label Pro and whichever other wrestling promotions they announce. So there's that. And then Chris, our pal Chris Drummond, big Chris dog, if you will. He said, regarding FITE, who's the number 2 promotion there after Game Changer Wrestling? That's a good question. You know, the aforementioned Black Label Pro, Game Changer Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance. I believe Ohio Valley does some of their production still on FITE. There's still a couple of promotions that are existing that are out there, but I don't know, man. Like I said, it's kind of, this whole FITE TV deal is got me thinking quite a bit, and how the whole shakeout's going to happen from this. Because again, perceived value is also a very important deal. If you're paying $5 a month and getting access to all the Game Changer Wrestling content you've ever wanted, and you're paying $5 a month just to get the NWA Power, is that worth it? And that's coming from a diehard NWA fan. I'm not wearing my NWA shirt today, and I'm not wearing an NWA hat today, but believe you me, mister, I am a huge NWA fan. I don't know if that's a good value. Lamb says that the United Wrestling Network hasn't uploaded new episodes for 6 months on FITE. I don't know if Dave Marquez even knows that, to be quite honest with you. The last time I spoke to him about FITE, he was telling me how, that you can watch the show on YouTube or FITE. I didn't know it was not being uploaded to FITE. So perhaps someone should let him know. Mr. David Marquez, if you're out there, Championship Wrestling presented by CarShield is not being uploaded to FITE. Let's see. Heeb says, the NWA pay-per-view deal is great, but Game Changer Wrestling puts out multiple pay-per-views a month for just $5. Content is key. 100%. I agree with you 100%. And remember, so if it's $5 a month, that's really $60 a year. So it's comparable to what we're paying for the NWA. But again, you're getting a heck of a lot more. The NWA puts out quarterly pay-per-views, two times a quarter, one time a quarter. So it's jeez. We're already making a discussion right here that this Game Changer Wrestling, just based on GCW deal with the FITE Plus, oh, there goes the camera, is a much better deal. All right, excuse me just for a second while I try to get my new battery in here. My camera's being a little it's being sus, guys. All right, hang on just a second. Just a reminder to check your batteries before you go live, because then you don't have embarrassing moments like this. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, nice. That's great. All right, well, let's see if we can fix this. Wow. JCal After Dark starts. I'm here, guys. I swear I'm here. And now I'm here in a different way. All right. Well, that's not good. All right. Well, that's embarrassing. But we're here, guys. We managed to salvage some of it. Holy jeez. Oh, God. JCal After Dark starts now. Oh, you guys still hear an echo? You shouldn't. Let me know if you do. All right, so let's see. Willie Bowen says, Fire Tyrus. All right. James Bell says, when I win the lottery, oops, I missed it. When I win the lottery and immediately buy the NWA, who gets the World Heavyweight belt and who is the first wrestler fired? That's a great question. I think the person that I would put the belt on would be the Dane event, trademarked by Jax Dane and your manager, Chris Silvio. The Dane event is a Grand Slam champion, if you will, having held the NWA World Tag Team titles, the National Championship, the retired North American Championship, and the World's Heavyweight title. You got to keep in mind, he defeated not Shitoshi, not Kojima, but Hiroshi Tenzan to win the World's Heavyweight Championship. He was also defended the tag titles in New Japan with Rob Conway. His feud with Tim Storm is what briefly unified the North American and National Championships. And after a brief injury, he was forced to relinquish the titles and then went on to win the World's Heavyweight Championship. So, yeah, I'm going to put my money on Mr. Jack Stain. And going back to what Hisa said, they haven't even added the past 10 pounds of gold series on FITE as they promised, have they? No, nothing. We don't have anything from the past. No circle squared. They even eliminated. I don't know if you guys remember, but God, what was it called? It was like wasn't Power Surge, but it was something electric, some sort of tropical electrical storm. And it was the NWA matches from the United Wrestling Network's Primetime Live. Those all got ripped down when the NWA first pulled all their content off of YouTube to be exclusive to FITE. But those were some matches that they had on YouTube, and it had a huge audience. I don't know why they never have brought those up. Maybe there is some sort of dispute with David Marquez. I don't know who actually owned that footage, but considering that, there it is, Shockwave. See, that's why Rick Del Santo's the professor, because he doesn't forget anything. Your boy Jay can hardly remember anything, like to charge his batteries before starting a podcast because his battery in the camera died. What a jerk. High voltage. Yeah, it was. I believe it was Shockwave. He says his first hire would be Nick Nitros. If you guys don't know who Nick Nitros is, you got to go check out some of the old NWA Sawmill footage, because that stuff was absolute train wreck television. The only good thing about it was you will sometimes see our pal Damian Wayne or our real good pal Jeremiah Plunkett. Of course, that's where he famously wrestled against Satoshi Kojima for the 10 pounds of gold unsuccessfully, but nevertheless, having an opportunity to challenge for that title was a very awesome moment for him and the NWA. Let's see. Chris says, here's an idea for an event for next year that would get Corgan a buzz. A Fight Fest, a 3-day event around the LA Mania. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I'll be perfectly honest. The NWA was always a hard sell for even Marquez when they had weekly television out here. It was always just a non-factor in some ways, because although it was popular with a lot of folks, I would head to most of the NWA TV tapings when they were out here in Hollywood. It didn't work. The local fan base didn't love it. And really the only times they came to those matches were when they're headlined by bigger names like Colt Cabana, Adam Pearce, Austin Aries, or Scorpio Sky. If those guys weren't on the card, it was the crowd wasn't a very good crowd. Just my 2 cents. But Chris goes on to say that you can have NWA, Game Changer Wrestling, Black Label Pro, and other FITE affiliates. And yeah, I mean, I don't hate it either, right? I don't hate that idea. LA, I don't think is the right market for it. Willie Bowen is predicting that Dax Draper will defeat national champion Scion. Now, Scion's been on a tear outside of the NWA. The last time we saw him, he had some sort of an ankle injury, and we haven't seen him compete on an episode of Power since, when he tried to take on Vic Delicious and I forgot the other guy's name of the Now. And hopefully we'll see a healthy Scion when it comes to the Hard Times 3. I think that match between he and Dak Draper will be really, really good. Chris Drummond says that when he wins the lottery, he's going to take the NWA merger with Impact so he can use all the footage with the NWA titles. Well, I say, why don't you just go ahead and buy that footage from Impact? They're not using it. Well, I guess they are. If you go and look, they still have a lot of that the old NWA title matches on YouTube, and I believe they still put those matches out on Pluto as well. Yeah, and Lamb, I agree. I think you're right, but I don't know if you remember. It was shocking to me, and I don't think I was the only one surprised that when the NWA produced this new content, it was essentially just the old content. It was Primetime Live that they tried to kind of pass off as something new when all those matches were several months old. You know, I don't know who they were trying to fool, but it was Todd Kennelly on the microphone and you know, it was the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood group. And yes, it was we did have those matches, but they were NWA kind of matches because you get Watts teamed up with the Pope to take on Effie, and at the time the TV champion Zicky Dice. We had the tag titles change hands when James Storm and Eli Drake teamed up to take on Aaron Stevens, and who we thought would be the question mark turned out to be JR Kratos. We had the title change hands when the Pope defeated Zicky Dice for the television title. We had the title change hands when Aaron Stevens lost the national title to our now world champion Trevor Murdoch. And then we know that Mike Bennett challenged Nick Aldis. We had Camille wrestle Heather Monroe, and we also had Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa defended the title twice, once against Priscilla Kelly, I think, who is now Gigi Dolan in WWE, and I also believe she wrestled against Serena Deeb. So, needless to say, that footage probably is Dave Marquez Productions, but for whatever reason, they released it as their own. Oh yes, Hale Collins. Thank you, Rick. And again, the professor shows why he is the professor. I'm not super familiar with those guys, but I do like what I see out of them. They're a legitimate tag team. I think they make the NWA tag team division even better, and I hope at some point that they get an opportunity to challenge for those United States tag team titles, because they're a lot of fun in that ring. And what Rick says, Marquez made a post about the new U.S. tag belts. And that whole skit, I was just watching it today. I don't quite get it. It made the NWA president, William Patrick Corgan, kind of look like a goof. And it definitely made Wrecking Ball Legursky look like a goof, but I don't think he's afraid to look like a goof. And by contrast, those titles are very, very similar. I prefer the United Wrestling Network ones myself. Lamb, thank you so much for being here, dude. Go get some rest. Have a good night. James Bell is bringing up Scion and his tweets about this past weekend. He had some brutal matches. You guys should go check those out when you can, see where he was wrestling, see if you can find them. NWA Gold says, what's up, NWA fam? Well, we're on the laptop because the battery died. Jay forgot to charge his batteries for the camera, so we're on the janky webcam, but it's better. Dave Scooby says, that segment was so much better when Billy pictured it in his mind. It had to have been, because it was pretty atrocious as far as I could tell. It was pretty freaking awful. And, yeah, I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling that. Anyways, let's get to some of the matches that we're going to see tonight, because we are about halfway through the show. This isn't necessarily a bad card. In fact, some of these matches I think are going to be really good, and some of them I think is going to be absolute horse shit. Let's see if you guys can figure out which ones are the horse shit. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, we get a karate exhibition match between the Question Mac and the Question Mock. When Adam Pearce before he was signed with the WWE, he had a shirt that was up at Pro Wrestling Tees. And I wish it was still available now, because on that shirt it said, who booked this shit? And I honestly have to ask the question, who is booking this? Who wants to see this? Tell me, if you're in the chat and you want to see this match, tell me right now. Give me a comment. Tell me that you're looking forward to this match, that you want to see this match. Who? Who wants this one? Who's this for? In your comments, what do you think? Oh, Chris says, serious hard times question. If the rumors are true that Chelsea Green is returning to the WWE, is it a waste of opportunity not to put the Burke on her? If she's heading to the WWE, you don't make that reaction now. If you were going to put the belt on Chelsea, you should have done it at the 73rd anniversary pay-per-view when she faced off against Camille on the second night after winning the Burke Invitational. They didn't pull the trigger then, and it's too late now. I think by putting the belt on her now, you're basically you're sabotaging your future. What you have right now is something very special with Camille, and when Camille is your Women's World Champion, you know, I don't think Chelsea's the right answer, especially if it's just a short-term run. They could have done that with Taya Valkyrie. They could have done that with Max the Impaler. They could have done that with Kylan King. I don't think you do that with someone who's on their way out, 1 foot out the door. Man, Willie Bowen. I can't say that on the air, Mr. Willie Bowen. Let's see. So some more matches tonight. And again, there are some that are going to be just shitty. Oh, oops. Some of them will be interesting. Interesting. Actually, I like this match. I think this is going to be a fun match. I think having a number one contender to go at the pay-per-view is good. I like it because that means the next night at the Revolution, what's it called? The Revolution Rumble, you could have that TV title match of the winner of this triple threat match, Gustavo versus Mims versus Judias. The winner of that can totally face the winner of Jordan Clearwater or AJ Kazana. I think that's a great fit. I think that's a good matchup for the next night. Plus, remember, like they're doing the second night is going to be part of the Power Trip extended tapings that they're probably going to use to fill out the rest of the year. Remember, this will air on November 13th as the pay-per-view, I believe. I don't have a calendar in front of me. I believe it's November 13th is the pay-per-view, in which case the next night would be the Power Trip tapings, which probably will lead up to the end of the year. Media, what is up, my friend? We're drinking the sparkling ice cranberry frost today. Let me get some more of your comments. Dave Scooby saw Ray Jazz, former Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator World Champion, Dog Champion. Ray Jazz has he's really taken that next step. He landed in Championship Wrestling. He started a feud with Invictus Cash. He's had a few matches for AEW Dark and Elevation, and now he's made his way to the FBI in Major League Wrestling. I would say Ray Jazz is having a very underrated year. Can't wait to see what his 2023 is going to all be about. I'm regrettably, I wish he had an opportunity to wrestle for the World Junior Heavyweight title. I think if the NWA had an opportunity to use Ray Jazz, that they would have been very, very happy with what he could do in that ring. So we'll see how that's going to work out. Heeb says he thinks Mims wins this. It means Kazana wins at the pay-per-view. If that's the case, Heebs, I mean, that could happen, but there's already precedent where Kazana has been owned by our boy Mims, but that's also a great point of feud where Jordan Clearwater doesn't really have somebody to feud with. It would be somebody new for Jordan Clearwater where Kazana and Mims have had history. I mean, they really could go either way. I still think it's a slam dunk that Jordan Clearwater wins this belt, but just because I think it's a slam dunk doesn't necessarily mean that Billy Corgan thinks it's a slam dunk. Jason Newsom's in the house. I can do without the Gimp, without Rolando or the question Mac. That is disrespectful to Joseph Hudson. I agree, man, 100%. I think it's a whole loaded crock of shit. And I do cuss on here more than I probably should, but I think this is completely valid. We could go over it again, but Joseph Hudson, the man who created the question mark, was good friends with Billy Corgan during this initial run of the Lightning One era of the NWA, and it wasn't towards the end of their first run, during the pandemic when they had a falling out. Like, I don't know the details, guys. I don't. But I know enough to know that they weren't on good terms when Josephus passed away. And I think it was very admirable and maybe even a little hokey for the way that they handled Josephus's passing by granting Aaron Stevens a world heavyweight title shot. I mean, I get it. But then, the whole run with Stevens' character as a babyface was just weird too, because the question mark wasn't a babyface. He was a heel. So nevertheless, Doesn't matter. We have two characters who are mocking the legacy of the Mongrovian karate master, and I hate to see it, and I hope it goes away very soon. But tonight we get, we must have pissed somebody off because we're getting a karate exhibition match. Now, don't get me wrong. Rodney Mack is great in the ring, but he's not a karate master. And I haven't seen anything out of the question mark 2 to lead me to believe that he's anything more than a guy in a mask. So I'm not looking forward to that at all, guys. I think that's a total waste of time. More of your comments. Media, you need to get these flavors, bro. I mean, I'm getting mine at Costco. I don't know if you have a Costco nearby, but that's where I picked up my pack. Dave Scooby says, rumors of December tapings in Nashville at Skyway. Yeah, I mean, they need to do something for the new year. They have enough. If they tape in the next night at the Revolution Rumble in Louisiana, they're going to have at least 4 episodes of TV. That's typically how those premier live events work, the power trips. So if that's what they're able to do, if they're able to, scrape that content and get something, they should be good till the end of the year. But then at some point, you're going to need more fresh content. So if they're doing tapings in December, that's a smart idea. I know I won't be there, but I hope they get a good following for those shows. Willie Bowen says the auditioning for the bio picture based on the life of Barney the Purple Dinosaur. I've kind of butchered it in the delivery, but y'all get what he was saying. Okay, so getting to the other match that I think looks like complete and utter garbage. The family feud, if you will, the Cardonas, which, it's funny that none of these guys ever really teamed up before the NWA, but you've got Brian Myers, VSK, and of course the big doofus there in the center. And they're taking on the other big doofuses and Rush Freeman and Brady Pierce, along with Rolando. Now, look. Can I be honest here? The Spectaculars are supposed to be a pun off the Fabulous Ones. The thing about the Fabulous Ones is they actually won matches. I would like to see the Spectaculars actually go on a run and win some matches and have some good competitive matches. This just looks bad to me, though. Can we get rid of those guys already? Like, that's the one thing. Like, if Matt Cardona signs with the WWE, can we get rid of those guys? Mike Knox and Brian Meyer and VSK? Is it just me? Now let's get to some matches that I think look pretty good. Again, the aforementioned TV title qualifier match. The winner of this match gets to face the TV champion. Gustavo has looked really good in his most recent outings. Judias, well, I'm not the biggest Judias fan, but when he's in the ring with the right people, he looks like a monster. And, of course, Mims, big, strong Mims. We haven't seen a lot of him on TV this season. So hopefully this is the change in the right direction for the NWA. Hopefully we'll see more Mims. And honestly, the cool thing about this match is whoever wins, it's fresh blood in the TV title picture. And I think that's what that division needs so desperately. More of your comments. We have, at least they have been building up to this match for 3 months. You're right, Heaps. 3 very long months. Heaps also says it's very annoying that the Spectaculars are getting a title shot at the Fixers when a Fixers versus Morton's title match is right there, prepackaged and ready to go. They spent so much time on USA having Kerry Morton talk circles about the feud, the longest standing feud in the NWA. Did they forget about Jackson Crimson? Because Jackson Crimson actually predates the Fixers in the NWA. I don't know. Predates Kerry Morton in the NWA. I don't know. They say things just to say things sometimes, and I don't appreciate it. I hate hyperbole. Like, it's the worst possible thing in the entire world to speak in hyperbole. And then the coward Cardonas, Willie Bowen points it out. Those guys are cowards. A bunch of bums. Bunch of no-good beatniks. And then Now, this is a match that I think is going to look really, really good, and it has implications for hard times, and that's going to be this tag team match. And number one contenders for the NWA World Tag Team titles, you got Hawx Aerie taking on them Dirty Sexy Boys. Now, let's be honest. If you don't know who's going to win this match, you're not paying attention. If you don't know at this point who's going to walk away the winner of this match, then you're just not paying attention. But that doesn't mean it can't be a great match. JTG has always looked good to me. I feel like he gets better and better every time he's in the ring. I'm not a big Dirty Dango fan. I'm not a fan of the silly gimmick. I'm not a fan of the wrestling. He's just okay. He's average at best to me. Putting him with JTG, I think, hurts JTG. But, Hawx Aerie has been one of the bright spots for the NWA. And, of course, it would be a bit of a homecoming for the challengers to actually be local to that New Orleans, Louisiana crowd. And if they win those tag titles, there's going to be an amazing pop for those two men to win those titles. So, not that I'm booking based on how a crowd will react, but the crowd will react, no doubt about it. And then, of course, I don't know if this is the main event. I don't know if this is the opening match, but Flip Gordon versus Colby Corino with Jamie Stanley. Now, I get that I did not watch all of this week's USA episode, but I didn't understand when James Stanley went from having an interview segment in the back to now being a matchmaker and a manager. Jamie Stanley's a great athlete. Why don't we just have Jamie Stanley wrestle? Colby Corino did a good job of getting established early on in the NWA in this Lightning One era. Flip Gordon has been a hallmark of the NWA for as long as Billy Corgan's owned it. So I don't expect either man to just lay down and die. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a really fun match. Curious as to what you guys think. I'm going to go to the comments and read some more for myself. Media M5 says, for myself, I'm hoping DSB, the Dirty Sexy Boys, get the win, though there isn't anything between the two of them as a gimmick, but anything over Aerie. Can't get into them as a team. Yeah, unfortunately, they may win. That's a unique take for me. Everyone I've spoken to is very enamored by Hawx Aerie. You have Luke Hawk, the Southern Stomper, who, when he first broke into the business, he was a skinny kid. And he was Azrael, the Angel of Darkness for Sinister Minister. And that was in the the NWA, not Anarchy, but Wildside, those Wildside days. So there's history with the NWA and Luke Hawk. And I mean, he spent time promoting the NWA or promoting Wildcat as part of the NWA. In fact, they had a very good relationship with Bruce Tharp. A lot of their talent would come in and travel based on their working with the NWA and all that good stuff. So I would love to see more Hawx Aerie. I'd love to see the NWA utilize their relationship with Wildcat. I think that can be very mutually beneficial for both parties. Heeb says, some weeks back, Jamie and Colby cut a never-ending bland promo on how they are working together. Well, I'm glad I missed it. So, I feel like we've got some good matches and we've got some absolute gutter matches tonight. But with all that being said, I still feel like there's 100% opportunity that this match will be better than last week's. And I don't know. I really hope it is, because last week's was so bad. But yeah. So that leads us up to, again, this I guess it's this Saturday. We've got our world's heavyweight champion, Trevor Murdoch, heading down to World League Wrestling to take on Moses the Deliverer in a World's Heavyweight Championship match. It's the first time that Trevor Murdoch has defended the title outside of the NWA since regaining it at the last Premier Live event. So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out, especially because it's just about a week before we all head down to Louisiana for the pay-per-view. And as we look at the Hard Times pay-per-view, some of the matches that we know are already happening. We mentioned the TV title match. We also have a hardcore team war match with Mercurio and Magic Jake, who I commonly refer to as Smoke and Mirrors, teaming with Jack Stane to take on Anthony Mayweather, the Pope, and JTG. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that they wanted to see the Pope and JTG team. I'm not one of those guys, but I think that this might be the closest you're going to get to that. Then, of course, you've got the World Junior Heavyweight title on the line with Kerry Morton challenges Homicide for a second time for that fancy championship belt, the Royal Crown that was based on the original World Heavyweight title. We're going to have Nick Aldis taking on Odinson. We haven't seen Nick Aldis work too many undercard matches, so this will be a first for him. We have the Fixers taking on the Spectaculars. Go Fixers. Then you have Pretty Empowered. That's Ella Envy and Kenzie Page taking on Maddie Ronkowski and Misa Kate. And then you've got another series of good matches. Jack Japer versus Scion. You got EC3 versus Tom Latimer. Oh, we need the new graphic. It's supposed to be Camille, Kylan King, and, of course, Chelsea Green. And then the main event. So, hey, what's up, Carlton? Glad you came back. Hey, Paladin, welcome. You guys got here just in time for me to wrap up the show because I got to be honest, I'm not feeling my best. And we covered everything. So we're going to call it a night. But make sure you tune back in on Wednesday and join my pals, Dave Scooby, Jeremy, also known as Wrestling with the MMA, and Tim from NWA Gold, as they're going to break down what we saw this past week on NWA USA, as well as talk about the United Wrestling Network recaps from their shows, and they do a little bit of fantasy booking. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys will check it out. And I forgot that I had this banner up. Look at me being all crappy. So, yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. I hope you guys will tune in for that. And then, of course, your review and recap of the show you're going to watch in just a few minutes. This week's episode of NWA Power will be here live. DKM and myself, and hopefully Jaden will be here to talk some wrestling with you, that hashtag NWA fam. So, yeah, that'll be cool. I will read your comments, and then we'll call it a day. Carlton says, please take the belts off the Fixers. I think now's time. I think they overexposed them, and I don't think they're as special as they once were. Thanks, media. You feel better too, man. I know you're fighting some stuff too. I just have a nasty cough that won't go away. Paladin says, hey, Jay, I wanted to correct myself. I told you last week that King is AEW talent, but I just saw an interview she gave a few days ago where she said that everyone thought she was signed, but she wasn't. And then he said Mickie James got her signed to the NWA. I did see that same interview. And, and I still see some of Thunder Rosa's talent appearing in, and I say her talent, but she doesn't own them. But I see some of the folks who were associated with Mission Pro still appearing on their television still appearing on their television program. So I don't feel like that's entirely true. But Kylan King, I mean, if she's not in AEW, we'll gladly take her in the NWA. She's great talent. Media M5 says they torture themselves so we don't have to, but I still torture myself anyways. I paid for the pass. Yeah, man, let's all torture ourselves together. That's why we come up with that hashtag, We Are the Alliance, because we're all going through this together. And Willie just says, ooh. Thank you, Media M5. I'm going to go probably take a nap. Paladin says, I got to stop reading the dirt sheets, man. It's fun, though. We're all guilty of it. Anyone who says they don't read the dirt sheets is lying. But the caveat is you have to take everything that you read in there with a grain of salt, because it's so easy for someone just to make something up. And how do you verify it? How do you, unless you have a source, you can't. Now, a lot of times in the past, I used to have sources. I used to have a lot of sources all throughout the NWA. So if it was happening in the Alliance, your boy Jay knew about it, or at least knew something about it. Those days are long gone. So I just kind of I do see a lot of the dirt. Like, I mean, we're hearing a lot of stuff about CM Punk right now and how he's going to get bought out. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in AEW. That's where the money match is now. Everyone's been expecting like this for him to be bought out, sold out, and everything else. But are you telling me right now that a match between CM Punk versus Kenny Omega wouldn't like draw a huge gate? Wouldn't draw huge pay-per-view numbers? Fair enough, Hisa. Hisa says, I don't read the dirt sheets. Fine, Hisa. You don't read the sheets. I read them. And Medium 5 says, I stopped reading the sheets years back. Well, you guys probably have a much more enjoyable internet experience than I do. Me and Paladin are out there reading the dirt sheets, so you don't have to. But that's going to do it for us this week, guys. Again, thank you so much. Make sure you're here tomorrow for the other Alliance guys, and then we'll be back on Thursday with the regular show. Also, if you haven't done so yet, we have some new shirts up in the merch store. A lot of cool stuff like coffee mugs, this hat, new hats, so I appreciate your support. Appreciate you guys being here. Y'all have a good one. And until next time, if I'm ever ready, we'll see you at the matches. Good night now. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.